Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session 404, Planet B Not Found. On the top of our beginning, just a few words on the housekeeping. The session is being recorded and also streamed. We have the live transcript on. If the transcript bothers you, I think you can disable it in your own Zoom room, and if you don't want to appear on the recording or in the stream, you can always stay mute and face mute, so don't turn on your camera if you don't want to. But we will have a very interaction-based session, so if you want to and if you're comfortable with that, please go ahead later on, turn on your camera and speak to us. I'm not here by myself, but with 4 of my colleagues. We will briefly introduce ourselves. As I'm already speaking, I'll start with myself. My name is Elisabeth. My pronouns are she and her. I am a Policy and Comms Officer at the German Informatics Society and was the project lead for Youth4DigitalSustainability, which was kind of the root of our session today. I'm calling in from Berlin. And yeah, with that, I would hand it over to my colleague Eileen to introduce herself briefly.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Hi, everyone. Good morning, afternoon, evening, depending on your time zone. My name is Eileen Cejas. I'm from Argentina. I was part of the Youth4DigitalSustainability program last year. So I will guide you within the society aspect. I'm the Regional Engagement Director for the Latin America and the Caribbean region for the YCIG, also known as the Youth Observatory. And also I'm the Youth Coalition on Intergovernance Steering Committee member, representing the Latin American and the Caribbean region. So I'm passing the floor to Noah.
Thanks, Eileen. Hi, everyone. My name is Noah Abdelbaki. I'm joining from Egypt. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a storage engineer at Dell Technologies and the African representative at the Youth Coalition on Internet Governance. I was part of the governance group at the Youth4DigitalSustainability program. Over to Rashi. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rashi. From India. I'm excited to be here. I'm a working member of the FAIR Digital Sustainability Group, and I'm also a project-based consultant that's currently working on projects on hate speech and how to translate, how we can determine or figure out online violence that is translated into genocide. I'm also a scientific committee member of Be the Internet project, where we're looking at sort of institutionalizing civic participation across the world on matters pertaining to internet governance and universality. So yeah, I'm excited to be here and also answer any questions that you may have. Over to you, Pedro.
Thank you, Rashi. Hi, everyone. I am Pedro. I use the pronouns he and him. I am based in Recife, in the northeast of Brazil. I am one of the directors of the Laboratory of Public Policy and the Intranet, a think tank based in the capital of Brazil. And the Youth4DigitalSustainability initiative, I participated on the Greening the Internet track. So I'll be hosting the environmental track today. Back to you, Elizabeth.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. For the rest of our group here, we will have more opportunity to get to know each other in our sessions, so we don't lose too much time on our interactivity up front. So just from my side, a few words, a brief introduction into what we are doing today and what it is based on. So we had already mentioned the Youth4DigitalSustainability project, which brought together 53 young people under the age of 30 from 32 different countries in all world regions, and they structured in 4 working groups, which will also be important today because those are the policy lines which you will be discussing in just a few minutes as well. So we were focusing on the environmental aspect of digital sustainability, the economic aspects, the societal aspects, and then also looked into governance structures. And we were talking about AI there as well. the outcome of a several months stretching process where 12 messages and recommendations that are relatively broad and address different issues in those 4 baskets, so to speak. And this is also what we want to do with you today. We want to get your input, your ideas, your gentle criticism, and maybe some points of action on these 12 messages. And I will share all the resources and links later, but maybe for the moment we stay all here in the room together. How we are going to do this, or what we're going to do, is having like an action-oriented, enthusiastic, and playful exchange. I hope this will also be a bit of fun for everyone in the room to kind of really get into the different ideas and the connections and the knowledge that you have and share it with each other and with us. And we are looking into, from the text that you will see, defining possible next steps, naming different stakeholders, maybe pointing out different connections that we haven't seen so far, expand our understanding. And we termed this guerrilla drafting. So we really go into it without too much overthinking, without too much discussion, just adding ideas and then see where we land. Just a few words on the process. We are going to do this in an open, gentle, inclusive, and constructive manner. So we're really trying to guide you through this so that you can work in the way you like. You can speak, you can write, you can use the Zoom chat or the Miro boards that will be shared with you once we are in our breakout rooms. We're working in smaller groups. As our group is not so big, I suggest we split into 2 rooms. We group together the environment and the business messages and the society and the governance messages, and you will be able to join one room and then after around 18 minutes, switch topics. So I would suggest that you either stay in your room of choice and do the second topic as well, or you come back to me and then we reassign you. Right. We will not change rooms necessarily. So if there's one topic you want to do and the other one you're less interested about, then just let our facilitators surprise you with what comes up. If you want to change rooms, if you have any problems, or if you want to just chat with me about the program or anything else, you can always come back to the main session. I will be here and will always try and help you out in doing so. All right. With that said, I have already set up the breakout rooms, and I will start the sessions now, which should give you the opportunity to choose one room that you're going into. If you're having trouble with getting into the room, then I can also assign you. Just let me know in the chat where you want to go.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Hi, Rasheen. You're mute. You're on mute.
Hey,
I couldn't hear you. Sorry.
can you hear me now?
Yes.
I wanted to say that is Andy a participant?
Andy, you're from Most Fast Technical Support, right? So this should be the room that is being live streamed. Is that right?
Yeah. Live stream?
Yes, our room is
Okay.
being the one live streamed. Sarah.
So do we have any participants coming in, or is it just us at the moment?
Yes, there's a sustainability wrangler joining in. Let's wait for her. Let's say. Hi. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
So I think we're just waiting for, let's see, Atifa. I think he went for they went to the other room, but I think we can start, right, Rashid?
I think we can. I think we should.
Let's go then. So welcome, Sarah. It's really nice to have you here. If you could just briefly introduce yourself to us, just sharing your name, the pronouns you use, where you're joining us from, and what do you do? It would be great.
Yeah, so my name is Sarah Kiden, and I'm one of the wranglers for the sustainability space. Outside of that, I'm a research fellow. I'm a Curie research fellow on a project called Open Dot. It's a joint project between Northumbria University in Newcastle and Mozilla in Berlin. Yeah, I'm interested in open source and technology and internet policy, but I'm really new to sustainability. So I'm here to learn and interact with all of you. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Sarah. So I'll share the link for our mural board that we'll be using in a second on the chat box.
I just want to check. Are we recording the breakout room session? We'll have to hit record. Someone will have to hit record if that's something that we want to do. No, is there no?
Andy, can you
help us with that?
Can you clarify that for us?
If you'd like to, I think you have co-host rights. You should be able to record.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't see the option. I don't see the option from my end to record actually.
Yes. So
okay.
Sorry?
I'm sorry.
So I think.
Okay.
Oh, this
is being recorded. Okay, thank you, Andy. So Sarah, I'll just share the mural board link on the chat box. Whenever you can access it, just let us know. If you start from the center, there will be an arrow pointing downwards. It's the environment arrow, but I will. Rashi, can you copy the messages from your business next to the environment?
I can do that. Just give me a minute. Yeah, I do have access to the mural board and I can also go to that. So are you sharing your screen? You want me to bring it closer, right? That's what you want me to do.
Yeah.
I'm on it. Why am I not able to copy this?
I think I can do it. Wait.
Okay.
Just stay still.
Yeah.
Sarah, are you in the environmental space? Yeah?
Yes.
Awesome. Then let's go. So our breakout room today, how is it going to work? First, we'll read with you the messages that were produced under the environmental track and the business track, fair business track last year. We have for each track 3 messages. And our idea here is really to hear you write based on these messages. So there will be a few questions that will guide us through what are the inputs that we before I read the messages. So the first question is, how can these broad messages become more actionable? What is important that is not here? Who should be a part of the discussion? What stakeholders should we involve or address? Are these topics important in your own work or activism? And if so, in what ways? And lastly, what are the obstacles that we face in advancing these messages? Of course, these are only orientating questions. We produced these messages last year, as Elizabeth said, in 4 different tracks. And just so they get to go on and make them useful and practical, we're looking for feedback on them. So if everyone is set, I will then start a stopwatch for 2.5 minutes, and then we can share ideas by copying the sticky notes and creating new ones. Rashi, yeah, go ahead.
Should I share my screen with the Miro board? Should I do something? I can do that.
Yeah, it can be useful. It will help us.
Yeah, just 1 second. Just 1 second. And we're here, and I just wanted, yeah. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Sarah, can you see my screen? Okay.
Yes,
I'm going to expand it a bit, and we can start with the environmental aspect, if that's okay.
Nicholas has just joined us. Hi, Nicholas. Can you hear us?
Hi, Nicholas.
Hi, Nicholas.
Okay.
How are you doing? Excellent. Can I have the link? So can I collaborate?
Yeah, totally. We're using the Miro board today. I'm just.
Oh, I know this, Nicholas.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. I'm just trying to. I think, is this okay? Is this too small, too big? No, is this fine?
It's fine because we also have like the on the browser, so it's fine. Should be fine.
Nicholas, I'll
Okay,
run
perfect.
through a very brief introduction because of what we just said, and we're ahead of time. We're using the Miro board to collect feedback on the messages that were produced last year on the Youth4Digital Sustainability aspect. So I'll read the messages. First, we'll provide feedback on the greening the internet track messages, so the environmental track. And afterwards, we're going to provide feedback on the business ones. So if you have your Miro board open, Rashi sharing her screen, there should be a center, right when you open your Miro board, there should be a starting point right in the center of it. And then if you go downwards, you'll see the dedicated space that we're going to use. Let me know if you're having any trouble with that.
No, perfect with that. I am Nicolas from Uruguay, and yes, also from Youth IGF Uruguay. Nice to see you all. I'm shining.
Awesome. Okay, Nicholas, thank you. Then I think we're good to go. Would you like me to read the messages out loud, or would you rather to have this moment solo?
Pedro, I think we can read it out loud. You can read the environment out, and I can read the business one out.
Okay, let's do it then. So the first message for the environmental track is we should actively strive to mitigate the environmental impact of the internet and ICTs. Both public and private stakeholders should strengthen collaboration by following a framework that allows for responsible growth, consumption of digital resources, and promotion of innovation. Message number 2 reads, promoting access to the internet and other ICTs is inherently a matter of sustainability. If we want to connect the next billion, we must do so in an eco-friendly way, taking into consideration the significant environmental impacts that digitalization comprehends. Lastly, the third message reads, the environmental impact of the internet and ICTs must be communicated in an accessible and effective language. It's important to compel stakeholders to action by framing the environmental crisis as an opportunity for change, while being based on scientifically accurate information. So again, these 5 questions that I read on the beginning, how can these broad messages become more actionable? Who should be addressed? What stakeholders should be involved? Are these topics important in your own work? What is important that is not here on the messages should be really guiding questions for the feedback that we're going to provide by using the sticky notes. But feel free to provide any other ideas, suggestions, be them textual or visual, on the sticky notes. So are we all good to go? Yes?
Yeah. Could I read out the business messages?
Yes, of course, but okay, go ahead, Rashid.
I go ahead. Okay, so these were the messages that we came up with for fair digital business practices, where businesses should champion diversity and sustainability by one, hiring C-suite representatives or consulting subject matter experts, and two, strengthening their commitment towards principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion and ecological digital infrastructure. Governments should offer economic incentives to businesses that commit to a circular economy model and fair trade standards in order to reimagine supply chains that discourage e-waste and improve the quality of life residing in emerging economies. Businesses should create an open data environment to promote transparency by acquiring user content and anonymizing personal data. Businesses can demonstrate their commitment to carbon neutral and humane practices that encourage behavioral changes in consumption practices. So if any of you have questions regarding how we came about these messages, we also have background papers that Pedro and I can share once we have this lovely conversation with you. And if you have any existing questions with the messages, please reach out to us as well.
So I think we're all good to go. Do you have any doubts, Nicholas or Sarah?
No, I'm good.
Okay, so for the next 2 and I'll give 3 minutes, I'll invite you to put all your ideas in this space. And starting in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So our time is over. I see Nicholas is still finishing something. Go ahead, Nicholas. We wait for you. So I'm really amazed with the number of sticky notes that we managed to come up with in 3 minutes. So let's start with maybe the first message of the environmental track. I see that there are sticky notes that read, governments should champion some initiatives and develop policy to support sustainability, and framework for digital resources and environmental impact should involve reusing, recycling. Who wrote this second one, the last one that I just read? Nicholas, was it you or Rashid?
Yes, I need to comment. Yes, my idea was this framework for digital resources that when everyone could share environmental impact by businesses, by private stakeholders, in order to strengthen the collaboration. That is the idea. To software-based things and open source, obviously. That is.
But how do you see this? Do you have any further insights for how should this framework be? Or it would be a collaboration between really private and public stakeholders, right?
Yes. For example, looking at the questions there, what is important that is not there, this thing, no? The transparency thing of all the waste, all the thing. And talking about how can these broad messages become more actionable, and also is relevant the stakeholders that could participate, who should be a part of this discussion, so to strengthen the collaboration. So I think this could be made by a platform, a software that permit this process of sharing information between stakeholders. That is the idea.
I
Cool.
just added more sticky notes because you guys have such amazing ideas. So I just thought I could just populate that aspect, make it easier for you.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
I complimented I made an addition to your sticky notes by the use of software. Right, thanks, Nicholas. Who wrote the other one? Was it you, Sarah?
Yeah, the government one was me.
Okay,
So
yeah,
go
no,
ahead.
so yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Sarah. You want to
Yeah,
perhaps
so-
expand that?
Yeah, so I was just saying that I feel that right now a lot of these efforts have been left to the private sector, and yet like from most things we've seen being implemented, if the government is not interested in participating, then it's really hard to implement. So that's why they should also champion some of the initiatives and also develop policy, because it doesn't. So even if you have good initiatives, if there's no policy to support their implementation, it's very hard to actually get them to finally work. Yeah, that's it. Thanks.
So do you think that should happen on national level, international level, or?
I would say it should start from even before national level, like in different regions in the countries, like local governments and then government and then internationally. So at different levels.
Okay. Nice, that's good.
That's a great point, Sarah. Actually, there are a lot of private-public partnerships that happen throughout when it comes to important matters and when it comes to smart cities, and something as important as abiding by the principle, or at least basic principles of circular economy. The governments can definitely join in hands and see. But maybe coming from my country, waste is actually a very profitable business. So there are a lot of companies that actually work on building up sustainable practices on how to tend to your waste and have a lot of incentives for that. And in general, even in terms of the repairability index, if you've just come out with the EU, I think the countries in the global south, emerging economies, are pretty far ahead when it comes to at least tending to their waste. For sure.
I'm sorry, Rashi, could you repeat the last portion of about e-waste?
So what I said is that emerging economies and just countries in the global south are quite far ahead when it comes to the way they tend to their waste. repairability isn't a concept that we invented because we want to abide by the environment, but that's just something that we inherently do. We have repair shops right down the corner to get every single thing repaired. Yeah, that's something that Sarah's not even me on, because she understands what I'm saying. But repairability isn't something that we created. It was just culturally or socially always been a part of it. That hey, we don't want to get rid of the entire aspect. We can just repair it. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Thanks. Just received a message from Elizabeth saying that we should maybe move on to the business topic. I don't know if you had time to. I see there are fewer sticky notes. Sarah, did you write any of the contributions for the business part?
Yeah. We actually just had a conversation regarding the one with in partnership with private sector. So I think we could go ahead with the other sticky note where they said collaborative data and sharing on environmental variables. Could someone explain that to me, if that's okay? I didn't quite catch that.
Oh, I think that one was written by Nicholas, who had to exit.
Is he around or has he left?
I'm sorry?
Is Nicholas around?
No, he had to leave. He just typed in the chat box. I see we have a new member, so welcome, Ollie. We're using the Miro board to gather ideas around the messages. I'll share the link again on the chat box. If you'd like to, can you hear us? Would you like to introduce yourself?
I can hear. Yeah, I'm Ollie. I'm Digital Development Officer for Somerset Libraries. So we're constantly looking at opportunities to work with businesses, and we have economic growth. So we're constantly looking at working with partners. And because we're a library service, we deliver accurate information and then work with these people to give them opportunities to use different equipment. So things like virtual reality headsets. We'll buy them in and then allow companies to come in and just basically use them either as members of just individuals or as a company, and see how they might be able to use this kind of technology moving forward. So anything along these lines is really interesting, just to kind of see where everyone else in the world is at and what they're doing.
Awesome, thanks. You're joining from where again?
I'm in Somerset in England, so the southwest. So if you know Bristol, down a little bit. Okay. If you hit Cornwall and hit water, you've gone too far.
Okay. Thank you for joining us today. Do you have your Miro board open?
I'm just opening it now.
Okay. If you go downwards, you'll see that we're having some sticky notes in the environmental and business section. So basically, we're discussing inputs on the messages that we wrote last year for the Youth4DigitalSustainability initiative. Just so we don't break the flow, I'll ask you to read the messages yourself and feel free to add new sticky notes.
Will do. Okay, you guys carry on. I'll keep listening.
Sure. No, Ollie, I can perhaps give you a little bit of rundown on the fair digital business practices, where we were looking at how can we actually together incentivize on what are the fair trade and circular economy models that we can practice so that we can make our businesses more sustainable. How can we also work around e-waste, and how can we work around also incorporating privacy by design uniformly across the world, which is a little ambitious, but also, looking at how we can reduce carbon emissions and actually encourage companies to promote and perhaps even start businesses that can help reduce the carbon footprint. So,
absolutely.
Yeah,
no, I agree with those. It is trying to find a standardization. It doesn't matter what the company or business is. Certainly from our point of view, it's making it clear what people's responsibilities are. It's everybody's responsibility, whether you're a hairdresser or a taxi firm. from our point of view is how can that impact, and having clear guidance across all industries and globally. Yes, it is a big ask, but if we don't put it out there, then there's no way of being able to. It's difficult to go back the other way. It's easier to get information out there, make sure everybody has access to it. And I think that's the key point of having a clear platform that people know where to go. From a library service point of view, we're all about information. Where do people go to find out this information? And that's what I think is critical.
No, absolutely. You're absolutely right about it. I think it's important to have these conversations so that you can have sort of, diplomatic alliances, like how we really seen, and one live example definitely is the pandemic, how we've seen sort of all of us coming together and, really amplifying and accelerating the vaccine inoculation drives. And what you realize is that if we really want to solve problems that are tackling it on a global level, it is possible, and that's pretty evident with how this entire year has gone by.
I say that can we move to the other contributions, Rashi? Would you like to read maybe for the message too?
Sure, I think we can go ahead. We have, I thought we had around 2 or 3 minutes, or has time passed by already? I'm
not sure. I thought that the swap would have already happened.
Yeah, I thought so too. But Ollie, go ahead. If you can populate it, and if you want me to share my screen, I can do that.
Yeah. Okay. So I've scrolled down so I can see the numbered text. So I'm just working my way and reading through those.
Great.
Oh, just so we don't. I think we'll have to head back to the main room in 1:45. We still have 7 minutes to go. I suggest we take again the discussion. Ollie, I know you've had so little time to go through the messages, but if you already have any idea, input, feedback, feel free to share it, maybe orally, because it would be faster. But if you don't,
Ollie has put a question. Ollie, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, Ollie, you said C-suite. C-suite is actually CX level executives, so it can be CEO, it can be your CSOs, chief marketing officers, chief strategy officers, chief sales officers. Anything with chief is actually looking as CEO, CFO. That's what.
Okay, so it's at that upper level.
Thanks,
I actually think.
Upper level.
Was it Sarah? Sarah, was it you that put on this?
Yeah, thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
So are we switching now to, yeah, I guess it's time to go.
Yes, I guess it's time to do this.
Oh, we finished a little early with the.
Hi, Sarah and Andy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
All good. Hi, Ollie.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, we're glad to have you here. I guess we have 5 minutes before going back to the plenary. So we're discussing the business and governance messages. You can swipe right to see the business messages and left to see the governance messages. Let me know if you need us to read them out loud before discussing them.
Maybe you want to give a short summary of the governance aspect of the program.
I think Noha is speaking, but we can't hear.
I was muted, sorry. Okay, so the governance messages are on the left side of Miro. They were drafted to provide recommendations on how to make the governance sustainable. Let me read the messages very quickly so you can have the opportunity to comment on them. First one, we urge states to pursue cross-border alliances in the governance of the internet as a shared resource based on democratic ideals. Entities collecting and managing data should adopt alternative forms of data governance that grant individuals greater control over their data. Second one, rules for AI and standards for ethical AI should be formulated through a multi-stakeholder approach rather than by technology companies. AI systems should be audited based on these rules by external parties for fairness, and their working should be made transparent to the public. And last one is the companies that develop and sell AI systems should be held accountable for them, and any entity that uses these systems should implement a comprehensive monitoring and evaluation systems through their lifetime of the systems. Eileen, do you want to read the business messages out loud?
Yes, I could hear you. Maybe I can read the guided questions. So basically, what these messages, what we are trying to achieve is to analyze, if we are missing some important aspect, if we want to address some specific actor in internet that we are missing. If you think that's some part of the message you want to change or modify or add something that we are missing, or type on Miro. So
Yeah, I don't know, we don't have a lot of time, but I just wanted to say, like on number 12, that we should not just leave this to the companies. I would love to see where the people who finally use the systems fall into this message number 12, basically. Yeah. The end
Thanks,
users.
Sarah. Yeah. We still have 25 seconds if anyone wants to add any comments. Okay. Thanks for joining.
Recording in progress.
Hello again in the main session. Good to see you. I hope that was fun. We are using the next few minutes to share to each other what was achieved, any outcomes or ideas that were generated in your exchange. I saw that there was a general switch between rooms, so I am sure you all got the opportunity to give your input to the different topics. And now I would ask the session hosts to share, maybe starting with you, Pedro, from the environment track.
So if you go down to the environmental space, we had input on the 3 messages, which was great, but we were only able to discuss one of them. What really went through and what was really clear is that governments should take a more active role in championing initiatives to develop policy to support sustainability, be it on a national level or local level. The more capillarity we find, the best it will be. Also, when we read the first message, we mentioned that public and private stakeholders should follow a common framework that would allow for responsible growth, consumption of digital resources, and promotion of innovation. And Nicholas shared an insight that maybe this framework could be advanced by a software. So that's it.
Thank you, Pedro. Wonderful. I would go on with Rashi. Rashi, if you're ready.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just gonna go, and there were some points that were brought in around. We should get the private sector involved and not have stakeholders working in silos, which has been happening. There was a great point also on how we can have partnerships with open source software tools to amplify our impact and encourage e-waste practices. Also, in terms of that, there was a good point made by Ariel where she mentioned that that there should be, or rather, case studies or best practices on how companies have championed diversity and sustainability efforts. There was also a point around how we can also have more collaborative data sharing practices. So all of them, all in all, to sort of strengthen the messaging overall.
Great. Thanks, Rashi. Thank you for sharing. Then the next one, I would go with Eileen. Eileen, if you're ready, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have a very interesting discussion. So as you see, we kind of discussed a little bit on governance and society on the same place, but we got to the conclusion that regarding the aspect of multilingualism, it's important to think that the access to internet could be considered essential as food, and I really like that idea. Also, we spoke about different aspects of inclusion, including freedom of expression, and it was mentioned about some issues that we can see related to content moderation, that some voices are kind of shut up based on community standards that seems to apply to gender diverse people and women. So that's something that we should work on, a more ethical use of AI. It was also mentioned that regarding youth access to information, that sometimes it's a bit tricky because they should share devices with maybe their parents or guardians. So it's difficult for them to access sensitive information. So it's something that we also should work on. And let me see. So it was also to encourage healthy societies. That's something that we can get as conclusion for our group. And I'm going to pass through Noah, I guess.
Thanks, Eileen. Would you mind if you can swipe left to the governance messages? Thank you. First, I would like to thank all the participants for sharing their comments. We had a comment from Juan regarding making the multi-stakeholder approach as per message 11 more inclusive. Okay, for instance, multiracial, gender diverse, ensuring gender equality and accessibility, etc. Ariel also raised a very good point regarding making this kind of discussions more appealing for youth. For instance, using the social media platforms to encourage youth to join the discussion. For instance, like music platforms create art or music about the data governance issues. Also, Sarah stressed on the importance of not leaving the governance to the data governance to the private sector only, and include everyone in shaping the governance. Thanks again.
Thank you, Noha, and thank you to all of you. It sounds like you really got great input. Maybe a few words on our next steps, what we're going to do with this input. So our messages, while they are out there and we publish them and we talk to different stakeholders to them, we really see it as a living document, and all of the outcomes of today and the ideas and the different pointers that you gave us, we will consolidate and really put it into our roadmap, because the Youth for Digital Sustainability group needs to expand, and we need to put different things into action, be it on regional, local, national levels. We have already seen that that we need to address those levels differently, and we really are thankful that you are part of our knowledge and advocacy journey there. Just a few words from my side. I will share my screen again for the rest of this so that you can also see what I'm talking about. We would love to stay in touch with you and maybe keep on sharing ideas. A low-level opportunity to do so is to follow @YouthIGF Summit on Twitter, and or use the hashtag Youth for Digital Sustainability to connect. Maybe one of my colleagues can put this in the chat as well. I'm sorry I didn't prepare to do so. Then on the website www.yigf.de, you find not only the messages, but also a range of background materials that were also developed by the people and the working groups that developed the messages, to give a bit more insight and expand already. And if you want to keep in closer touch with us, we have a standing Slack channel where all of the people who were part of the project before are still in, and we have set up a channel for the MozFest people. So if you want to become part of that and keep exchanging, just email me or send your email address to me in the chat right now. Then I can add you there. I'm putting my email address in the chat as well. And oh no, I just sent it to Andy. I'm sorry. Perfect. Thank you, Eileen. And with that, from my side, I have said everything that I need to say. If anyone wants to share or give us advice, now we still have 5 minutes to do so. Just unmute yourself or share in the chat if you want to.
This was super cool. I really enjoyed the conversations. Thank you for running this. I would love to see another session like this, maybe outside of MozFest, where there are, more conversations to be had. So I just wanted to say thank you before I say goodbye.
Thank you, Ariel. Thank you for joining. All right. With that, I would say wonderful last words. We can close here. Thank you, everyone who contributed. Thank you to you, my co-facilitators, and talk to you soon, hopefully. Goodbye.